Every few months, the same story repeats across India. Parents protesting outside private schools, shouting, "Stop the loot." A survey found that 44% of parents saw their child's fees raised by 50 to 80% in just 3 years. Some schools now charge over 5 lakh a year, and that's before you even count uniforms, transport, or development fees. But here's the bigger question: why have school fees become this expensive? Who's really pocketing all that money? And how did India's schools turn from social institutions into profit machines? In this video, we will follow the money from your bank account to your child's school to the powerful hands that control India's 2 lakh crore private education industry. We will uncover how schools legally bypass profit restrictions, the hidden costs parents never see, the shocking teacher pay gap, and why governments can't control fees, and what you can actually do if your school keeps hiking them. Stay till the end because this is not just about money, it's about what education in India has really become. Private schools were once a middle class escape, a place for better English, smaller classes, and hope for college. But between 2015 and 2025, average private school fees jumped 169%, while salaries barely grew 5 to 6% annually. Today, middle income families in cities like Delhi or Bengaluru spend 2.5 lakh to 3 lakh per child every year. And most Indian parents don't trust government schools, and because of poor infrastructure, teacher absenteeism, and lack of English medium teaching. Nearly 40% of all students are now in private institutions. And once there, families discover that education has quietly become one of India's most profitable industries. When schools advertise 1.5 lakh annual fees, that's just the entry ticket. Parents end up paying additional different types of fees: transport, books, uniform, activities, development technology, and even lab electricity. Now let's break down a real mid-tier CBSE school in Delhi charging 2.6 lakh a year. Tuition 1.4 lakh. Annual development fees 38,000. Transport 44,000. Books, uniforms, activities 28,000. Miscellaneous 10,000. Added up 2.6 lakh. Now include the 35,000 admission fee. The total is 2.95 lakh per year. And that's not a premium school. That's actually a mid-range. Top IB schools in Gurugram or Bengaluru now charge between 4 to 5 lakh per year per child. Even worse, many of these charges are tied to vendors chosen by the school. You can't buy uniforms or textbooks elsewhere. Parents discovered that the same textbooks were sold at 300% markup, with schools earning commissions up to 20% on every item. So while parents think they are paying for education, a big chunk is actually going into vendor kickbacks and add-ons that have nothing to do with learning. Most private schools in India are registered as non-profit trusts or societies. By law, they can't declare profits or distribute dividends. But in reality, they don't need to. Here's how the system works. The school itself is a non-profit trust. The land, buses, or even furniture are owned by another company, one controlled by the same trustee or their relatives. The school rents these assets at 2 to 3 times market rate, paying lease fees from your school fees. So while the school technically shows zero profit, the money flows into the trustees' private firms. A 2025 analysis showed that some private investor backed international schools report EBITDA margins between 60 to 72%, rivaling India's IT and pharma giants. One Bengaluru international school, earning 120 crore a year, spent only 16 crore on teachers and 17 crore on operations. That means 87 crore, 72% was pure profit. And if you thought education was immune to big money, think again. Private equity firms like KKR, Kedara Capital, and Gaja Capital have pumped over 26,000 crore into Indian school chains. To them, education is not a public good, it's a high return business. And here's the irony: while parents pay record high fees, private school teachers earn 20 to 40% less than their government counterparts. A typical government teacher earns 25,000 to 30,000 a month. A private school teacher in the same city often 18 to 22,000. So if salaries are low, where's all the money going? To branding, air conditioning, and marble lobbies, and of course, to those related party lease rentals. Some schools even cite high operational costs to justify fee hikes, claiming losses on paper while the trustees buy new land parcels through connected firms. The truth is, education's cost structure is upside down. Less than 15% of revenue goes into teaching, the very thing that parents are paying for. You might wonder, doesn't the government regulate this? Well, yes and no. Education is a state subject and every state has its own rules. Only a handful, like Tamil Nadu and Maharashtra, actively regulate fees. Tamil Nadu has the strictest law. Schools must get their fees approved every 3 years. Maharashtra allows parents to veto fee hikes through parent teacher associations. But Delhi, until August 2025, there was no effective control. That's why schools could hike fees 8 to 20% every year since 2020, reaching 1.4 lakh annually. Only after massive parent protests did Delhi pass a new fee regulation bill. But even that's controversial. Critics say it gives more power to schools, not parents. The result, 93% of parents say state governments have failed to control arbitrary fee hikes. India today has 28 different state level fee laws and almost none work in practice. Behind the economics, there's a human story. Parents say they are drowning in school bills. 50,000 a month for two kids on a 1 lakh salary. Many delay home loans or second child plans just to afford education. Some schools even bar students from attending classes if fees are delayed, causing lifelong trauma for children. One parent wrote, "It's not education anymore, it's emotional blackmail." This isn't just an urban elite issue. Even in tier 2 cities like Bhopal or Jaipur, schools charge 2 to 3 lakh a year, nearly 25 times government school fees. And what do parents get in return? The same curriculum, the same exams, just packaged in air conditioning and corporate branding. We have built a system where education is no longer a ladder up, but a treadmill, running faster each year just to stay in the same place. From 2015 to 2025, school fees rose by 218%. If this trend continues, by 2030, sending two children to a private school could cost 10 lakh a year, nearly equal to an average Indian family's annual income. So the question becomes, what can parents and the government actually do? Parents are not powerless. Many victories began when they decided to stand together. The first step is to get organized. Create parent associations or WhatsApp groups within your school community so every family has a voice. Once united, demand a written breakdown of every fee. If a school refuses, remember the Consumer Protection Act recognizes education as a service. You have the right to accountability. If that doesn't work, file a complaint in the consumer forum. It's affordable and usually resolved within a year. Parents can also file RTI requests with the education department to verify if the latest fee hike was ever approved. In many cases, it wasn't. And when all else fails, go public. In Delhi and Bengaluru, parent campaigns and hashtags like hashtag school fee scam forced governments to take action. The message is simple. Parents have more power than they think, but only when they act together. Now let's see what the government can do. Fixing this crisis requires national reform. India needs National School Fee Authority to set clear, transparent standards for how schools calculate their fees. Large schools must publish audited financial reports annually showing exactly how parent money is spent. The government should cap non-tuition fees so profits can't hide under vague labels like development or activity. At the same time, India must reinvest in government schools. Better facilities and teachers will give parents a real alternative and reduce dependence on expensive private ones. Finally, there must be limits on investor control and profit margins. Private equity backed schools should face caps, with at least 40% of income going directly to teacher salaries and classroom learnings. If these reforms take shape, India can transform its education model, one from driven by profits to one driven by purpose. Because in the end, education was never meant to be a business. It was supposed to be a promise of opportunity, fairness, and hope. The right to education was meant to guarantee opportunity, not debt. But today, schools have become a private tax, a price families must pay for a chance at a decent future. Every rupee that the parents spend deserves transparency, accountability, and fairness. Because when education becomes a business, society pays the price. So the next time your school raises its fees, remember you're not alone and you do have rights. Education may be the foundation of our nation, but only if it is affordable for everyone. If you found this video insightful, hit like, share it with your friends and other parents, and subscribe for more such videos.